This is the Fox 5 News Block.
We are following several developing stories. Eric Adams and other top Democratic mayors testifying in front of Congress, discussing how sanctuary cities have responded to the Trump administration's immigration enforcement. And a tragic morning in Greenwich Village after an 81-year-old woman is killed in an apartment fire. We have the very latest. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Antoine Lewis. Welcome to the News Block. Those stories in just a moment, but first let's take a live look at a gray picture outside. Let's talk about it, Audrey Pointe, because we know some rain is on the way, correct?
Yes, we're expecting a good amount of it too, Antoine, and there's also the possibility of some thunderstorms. Let's talk about the temperatures first. We're above average for this time of year with our readings already in the 50s in many spots, including right here in New York City. It's 54 in Central Park, 52 in Islip, 53 in Bridgeport. We're at 57 up towards Poughkeepsie. The winds are definitely noticeable. They're sustained right now between 15 and 20 miles per hour. However, gusts are even higher than that. We're going to see 39 miles per hour in Central Park, 34 in Belmar, 37 in White Plains, and it's blustery all across Long Island and even up towards Connecticut as well. Let's take a look at the radar. The rain is starting to invade the tri-state area. Right now it's pushing out of Pennsylvania, crossing over the New Jersey border, and it's part of a cold front that will be impacting us as we go further on into the evening commute. So be prepared for some very heavy rainfall at times. There is also the possibility of thunderstorms as this system works its way eastward. It's expansive. It goes from the Great Lakes all the way down towards the mid-Atlantic, and it will be pushing eastward as we go through the next few hours. We're going to time out the rain for you and let you know when it will dry out coming up. Antoine?
All right, Audrey, thank you. Mayor Eric Adams testifying before Congress today on New York's sanctuary city status. Republicans argue sanctuary cities impede the Trump administration's mass deportation agenda and protect people who are in the U.S. illegally. Mayor Adams says he did not write New York's sanctuary city laws. He's been consistent with this message since taking office. But despite saying that he didn't write the city's sanctuary laws, Adams has expressed interest in making changes to them. Take a listen.
I can't control who comes across our border. I have no control over that at all. But I have an obligation and responsibility for every New Yorker to receive the services and care that they deserve. And that is what I want to share today.
Mayors from Chicago, Denver, and Boston all testified on their city's sanctuary status today as well. Meanwhile, various city leaders, including some who are running for New York City mayor, gathered outside of City Hall, voicing their support for New York being a sanctuary city, as Mayor Adams is testifying in the nation's capital. They also demanded Mayor Adams step up and defend immigrants.
We should have a mayor who understands what makes New York City special. A mayor that stands by our communities through the challenges and not sells them out.
That's right. That's right.
A mayor who puts the people they represent first.
New York has had sanctuary city policies on the books since the 1980s. Advocates say these laws have improved public safety, integrated immigrants into communities, and helped them access various services, which they say benefited our economy. A tragic morning in the Village to tell you about. Firefighters are trying to determine the cause of a fire that claimed the life of an 81-year-old woman. Officials say it happened around 7 this morning on the 5th floor in a penthouse. Firefighters were able to contain it to the one apartment. We caught up with the victim's grandson, who told us he already plans to take the next FDNY test.
She was just an awesome grandma. She was always there for me. She was there when I was born. I loved her. She was so sweet. She always made me feel special, and like I was the most important grandson in the world.
The FDNY tells another family member that the fire appears to have been an electrical issue, either in the kitchen or bathroom, but the official cause has yet to be determined. Tragedy in Brooklyn to tell you about. A 4-year-old boy dies, and fentanyl could actually be to blame. First responders on a hazmat team were on hand yesterday at a women's shelter in East Flatbush. Authorities say the boy showed symptoms of an apparent overdose. Reports allege the boy's parents were found ingesting fentanyl at the time. They are being questioned, but so far no charges have been filed. The exact cause of the young boy's death has not yet been determined. Developing news to tell you about on the tariff battle. President Trump now granting a 1-month exemption on auto tariffs that were to be placed on Mexico and Canada. Now, this, as a senior official tells the Associated Press, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is not willing to lift Canada's retaliatory tariffs if the Trump administration leaves any tariffs on Canada. Now, President Trump imposed tariffs against Mexico, China, and Canada. They all retaliated with tariffs of their own. After Tuesday's tax hike hurt the stock market, the U.S. Commerce Secretary says there might be carve-outs coming, softening the United States position. The Canadian government indicated nothing less than the removal of the tariffs was acceptable. Also developing, the Vatican says Pope Francis celebrated the start of Lent today by receiving ashes on his forehead. Now, the news comes following the pontiff's recovery from double pneumonia. The Vatican says Pope Francis has also increased his level of physical therapy and is in stable condition inside a Rome hospital. Catholics across the globe observing Ash Wednesday today to mark the start of Lent. Worshippers lined up along the aisles inside St. Patrick's Cathedral to receive their ashes. Pope Francis is asking Catholics to start Lent full of hope, a message Cardinal Dolan echoed this morning on Good Day New York.
You know what moves me? Have you noticed this? So the doctors keep saying lungs are bad. Yep. Legs are gone. Arthritis is flaring up. Stomach ain't that good. But is his heart ever strong? You talk about a strong heart. And Pope Francis, we love him because he's been a man of the heart, hasn't he?
Lent is a 40-day period of fasting, prayer, and penance. It's a reminder that humans are mortal and need to reconcile with God. Well, forget about Facebook and Instagram. There are some other social media apps surging in popularity, like Substack and Blue Sky, new to me. Fox 5's Teresa Priolo, she's going to show us all why some users are now going there.
Remember the days when your inbox used to be filled with newsletters from brands, celebrities, and most recently creators or influencers? Well, it looks like the new newsletter is Substack, a way to get paid, in some cases hefty sums, for your knowledge and prose. Lance Ulanoff is editor-at-large for Tech Radar.
It's really a place where a lot of individuals have taken to post their own thoughts, to start their own, they're almost like newsletters, own blogs. With that, they don't need to be on a platform for a big company. They can also do videos and they can monetize it. And that's one of the big things that people are very interested on Substack, because they can start their own kind of content business.
And big business it is. Substack boasts 35 million active subscriptions, including 3 million paid subscribers. The most popular ones, according to Reletter, center around political news. Jessica Reed Krause, a popular independent journalist turned Trump and RFK supporter, has nearly 500,000 subscribers. Most pay as little as $5 a month for her content, which could bring her millions a month in revenue.
Your subscribers, when you post something new, they all get it. It's all delivered into their inbox. And there is something very powerful about the thing that you choose to subscribe to that shows up in your inbox.
Recently, a number of high-profile journalists and infamous Americans like Casey Anthony started Substack. On the other end of the alternative app spectrum, Blue Sky. It looks like Twitter, it acts like Twitter, only the content's far more liberal-leaning. And that's because it was created by Jack Dorsey, the guy who started Twitter.
Blue Sky is kind of distinctive because it's called decentralized. And the only thing that means is that no one body owns all your information. And in fact, you can just take it anywhere you want.
The app blew up after the inauguration. Now it boasts 30 million users, the majority male between 18 and 24 years old, proving if you build it, they will come. Some immediately. Others will take time to adapt to the new normal. Teresa Priolo, Fox 5 News.
All right, Teresa, thank you. Well, next year's World Cup final will have a Super Bowl halftime flavor to it. Coldplay vocalist Chris Martin is working with FIFA officials on the show. Officials are not saying if Coldplay will be performing, but Martin will be involved with booking a performer. Soccer officials are also saying the World Cup will be taking over Times Square for the final weekend of the tournament, which will be taking place in July of 2026 and will be held at MetLife Stadium. Fox Sports will bring you all the excitement of the 2026 World Cup. All right, can't wait for that. Now, when you think about modern communication style, you probably think of texting and not so much phone conversations. And while Gen Z is very versed in the world of technology, a professor across the pond has started a teaching seminar on how to properly make and receive phone calls. Fox 5's Jody Goldberg has more on why so many young people are now dealing with telephobia.
Being just a phone call away isn't reassuring for everyone, especially for those who struggle with telephobia, also known as the fear of making and receiving phone calls.
They find FaceTime easier because it's the lack of visual clues that actually intensifies their anxiety.
The anxiety-inducing experience recognized by Liz Baxter, a careers advisor in the UK, mostly impacts Gen Z or today's teens.
I'm not surprised that it's a thing.
A YouSwitch survey found nearly 70% of people ages 18 to 34 prefer a text to a call, with more than half assuming an out-of-the-blue call means bad news.
They want to receive a question, have 10 minutes to think about it, and then send a voice note or a text, because they can manage that, they can control that. Whereas on a telephone call, you ask a question, understandably, you expect a response.
Please choose one of the following options.
Call customer service these days, and more times than not, you'll get a bot on the phone well before an actual agent.
They make it so easy to not have to talk to people.
It's not necessarily a good thing, according to Baxter, who says college students are struggling with the skill and prefer other methods of communication that are less immediate and intimate.
How are they expected to get this skill if it's really difficult to actually telephone companies in the first place and have someone actually pick up the phone and speak to you?
And so these days, it's most common to ignore the call and then follow up with a text or a voice note to initiate the conversation a different way.
My call log consists of, like, a majority of times missed calls that I have.
While not everyone has the fear,
I enjoy it. I talk to my family on the phone all the time.
if you do, Baxter shares suggestions to stay dialed in.
You can make notes because no one can see you. Just make sure you can commit your attention fully to focusing and being in the present.
A connection made that's helping people find their calling. On Long Island, Jody Goldberg, Fox 5 News.
I don't know, Audrey Pointe, when you see certain names pop up like mom or mother, you go ahead and just slide to answer.
Yes, yes, but if I don't see the name, it's just a number, voice to mail, voicemail for sure.
That part.
All right, folks, wish we could just shut off this weather, too, because we are expecting some strong to possibly severe thunderstorms across parts of the tri-state area. We are under an elevated risk for that here in the northeast. More severe weather will be found to our south, like near the mid-Atlantic. Nevertheless, you're going to need your umbrella handy because rain is starting to impact the region. It's coming out of Pennsylvania right now, crossing the New Jersey border, and it will be marching eastward and be over the city probably around 4 or 5 o'clock. It'll be steady rainfall by 7 p.m. You can see it's all over New Jersey, the Hudson Valley, Connecticut, and Long Island, and there will be pockets of moderate to heavy rainfall and also gusty winds with this system as it moves through. By 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, we'll start to see things kind of shift offshore here. We'll get into a quiet period overnight. The front will still be hanging in place, so there's still a potential for a couple of pop-up showers, but the bulk of the rain will be long gone. And then tomorrow, we'll have a mix of sun and clouds across the region. It will be windy tomorrow, too. Our wind gusts will be as high as 40 miles per hour across the region, and then we'll stay dry as we go into the end of the week. Temperatures will mostly be in the 50s for the next several days. We'll be in the 40s over the weekend. Antoine?
Wow, 50 on that Friday. That looks good. All right, we'll take that. And that's going to do it for us for now, everybody. I'm Antoine Lewis. Thank you so much for joining us. Tune into the 5 o'clock news on Fox 5 and right here on the Fox Local app for all of the day's news as it develops. We'll see you back here again tomorrow. Take your umbrella if you're heading out.